Good morning, Superkickin with Steven fans, your favorite host right here, Stephen A. right here. We're going to bring on the man over there, the Greg One, rocking his son's jersey as we finish up basketball season. I cannot wait to unveil what jersey I've bought, Greg. You will hate it, which is even better.
Oh, here we go. What do you got?
So I picked somebody else. So it should be here this weekend or next weekend. I mean, next week. Anyways, but what a week in wrestling! I can't believe we're just a week away or a week out from WrestleMania. Now it feels like it's been forever ago. The time is just an illusion, isn't it, Greg?
Yeah, you're not kidding. But it's been fun watching this week, especially week after Raw after WrestleMania, SmackDown after WrestleMania, see the new stuff that's coming out, the new show pieces. They decided
Well,
to
SmackDown
yeah,
became the
especially on
new.
SmackDown.
Yeah, I was gonna say SmackDown became the new Raw after Mania, didn't it? This week. I'm starting. I think with it being on Fox, I wonder if there's going to be that push to make that the bigger show after Mania because I felt like we got the bigger things last night than Monday night. So, but
Mhm.
we got some news to talk about, Greg. I'm going to start out kind of lighthearted because there's a little bit of heavy news for NXT and their tag team champions, and it's going to be a slippery slope to go down because they're just there's a lot of gray area in it. So I wanted to share this though. I know it doesn't mean much to you, Greg, but this is Shane McMahon's oldest son, Declan McMahon, and he's going to Indiana to the Hoosiers.
Wow.
So I joked, I'm like, I don't know, we might see Shane O'Mac rocking an Indiana game sometime. I don't ever go to Hoosier football, but hell, if I know that he's going to be there, I might. I don't know where he'd end up, but yeah, I thought that was just kind of interesting. Like a McMahon heading to Indiana. I mean, you just, you know, we hear about these kids heading everywhere, but so yeah, congrats to Declan. That's another name, Greg, that's been coming out lately that a lot of kids nowadays have. I don't know what's the big ado about it, but yeah, I've heard a lot of kids named Declan lately. So
Huh.
congrats to him. Don't know if he'll play, but hey, he's going to the Hoosier State. So
Hey, that's the thing. What position does he play? Is he a real football player? Or is he another McAfee? Does he punt?
let, let's see. I thought it
That's the
said.
big thing.
Let me. I'm looking him up really quick because he had something about playing. Where is that? Of course, it's not going to be up to date on his. It does not say. Let's see. I guess I could
He
look
looks
up
pretty
somewhere.
small, so maybe he's
I
a
was
Christian McCaffrey type dude.
Declan McMahon. There we go. Blah blah blah. Commits Indiana. Trying to see if it says what running back. A class of 22,
See?
2022 running back. Now he's a walk on, so that could be he might not even touch the field this year. So, but anyways, congrats to him. Like I said, I wanted to get it lighthearted because we got some NXT championship news, tag team championship to news. Greg, have you been following the Kimberly Nash Carter business or not?
Not.
Okay.
Um, I just
So,
read this story yesterday for the first
mhm.
time, and I was wondering if it was fake news or if it was a real story. So,
it's
um,
it it's that weird, and it's gonna be hard to report it because it's gonna be his side, it's gonna be her side.
yeah.
Now, he hasn't come out with anything, unfortunately. Some friend of his who just started a Twitter feed, and of course I won't remember her name, but she just started a Twitter feed kind of defending him against Kimber because Kimber put out a couple tweets, and now Kimber has since deactivated her account, which doesn't surprise me. It sounds like she kind of has some mental stuff going on, or she did originally, and there's photos of her possibly being abused by him, and then there's also the photo that she posted of him playing up like a Nazi, um, just a Hitler mustache and doing the Nazi salute, which is why I think they released. Well, and that's the thing too. I feel like we haven't seen the official release, but this is probably about as official as we're going to get. And then this, like I said, this side acquaintance said Nash has been living at her house waiting for divorce papers to be served. So you can see why, Greg, we'll just say the big story is for wrestling wise. I think he's gone, obviously. Wesley, I don't know what's going to happen with Wesley. I don't know if they'll put him with somebody else. But the current NXT Tag Team Champions are done as Tag Team Champions, which, Greg, means give it to the damn Creed brothers. I mean, give them the match. And when you think about it, now that we've broken up Imperium and we got half of them on, 2/3 of them on SmackDown, you got Briggs and Jensen, you got Jacket Time. I mean, yeah, it's got to be the Creed brothers crown, right, on Tuesday.
Absolutely. You got a whole lot of nothing in the tag team division in NXT. And you know me, I was never an MSK fan to begin with, but it's sad to see this come out. All the details that I read were, accurate to what you were describing. And it's just the state of the world today. It's a shame, you can still, get in trouble for something you did 10 years ago. I mean, none of us were we're a lot less evolved 10 years ago than we are now. So, we say some stupid things, we do some stupid things, you learn and mature from it, and you get better from it. And so just to think that, not only in, wrestling, but this has happened across all sports, all entertainment, that something that they did 10, 20 years ago gets pulled out of the woodwork somehow. And now you have to pay the consequences for it, which I've never thought is fair. I mean, we're all human, nobody's perfect, as the saying goes. But
now, the only thing I will go on the other side, Greg, is if you're going to do something like a Nazi salute and a Nazi, I mean, you don't take a picture of that, do you?
Yeah, you don't do a Hitler cosplay. Definitely not. That's just.
I mean, now granted, Prince Harry did it, and he did it for a costume party, and they kind of let. But anyways, I don't. And then of course the abuse side and mental issue, we just don't know because he hasn't come out to say anything. And then you don't want to, if she's truly the victim, you don't want to not believe her, because that's usually why women or men don't go about abuse, because unfortunately there's that whole, it's you're saying it's their saying, he said, she said, or whatever. So it's a tough, that's why I said it's just so hard. Nobody's going to get the accurate report. That's pretty much what's coming down to.
Yeah.
But so are you all in on the Creed brothers winning tag team titles?
Yes, there's nobody else standing in their way now. The Imperium is gone. My other favorite tag team down there. The Creeds have grown on me, and I'm down with them now. And there's nobody left. So yeah, you got to do that. Put it on the Creeds, and then rebuild the tag team division altogether.
What do you think happens to Wesley? Do you think he gets a shot singles wise, or if we put him with somebody just to kind of see if that works?
Maybe there's somebody in the factory right now that you're ready to bring out and put him as a partners. It's better to do an unknown commodity and have them repackage them both, and maybe give some separation between Wesley and the MSK.
Yeah.
And just do it that way, or just bring them up to the main roster and find Riddle. Put him with Riddle or
Orton. I mean, that what two better guys could you work with? I mean, and then you could have him tag. You could kind of be like New Day and have him tag with Orton a few times, have him tag with Riddle, and kind of see where he's at. So what about Fabian Archer? I kind of think the writing's on the wall there, Greg. I wonder if he's going to be the odd man out. And, I'm surprised we haven't seen releases yet, but, this is usually that time frame. So Do you think Fabian has a shot down there, Greg, or is he on the chopping block, unfortunately?
It looks that way. I mean, when you saw 2/3 of Imperium on SmackDown, you're like, where's the other one? And so that's the bad. I don't answer your phone, baby. And so I hate it for him, but I don't think he's going to stay in 2.0. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think his name is going to turn up on the release wire.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the big news. I think like I said, I think that whole Kimberly and Nash Carter kind of took most of the news this week. So that's why I tried to keep it lighthearted with the, first piece of business. Should we jump? Did you have anything else that caught your eye, Greg, before we jump into Raw talk and kind of get going with Raw?
Well, we do have a couple things to celebrate
Okay.
that probably not aware. Well, we already gave away the first ones that now that the season is all but one game over, my Suns are the number one seed throughout the entirety of the playoffs. They will have a home court advantage all the way through the
Heads above
championship.
everybody.
That's right. They're 64-17, and they have a 9-game lead on the Memphis Grizzlies and about an 11-game lead on the Miami Heat as far as the best team in the East. And they have been destroyers this year. Shout out to my Phoenix Suns for eclipsing their franchise best record so far by 2 games. It'll be 3 if they win their last game.
Yeah.
But home court advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs is the number one seed. Way to go get it. Also, as it pertains
Championship
to
or bust, right?
That's right, championship or bust. This is better than the team that made it to the finals last year. So I'm super excited to see my Suns go out and kill it. Not just that, they were the team that eliminated the Lakers from the playoffs. So when they beat the Lakers were mathematically eliminated.
And we don't even need to get in. Wow.
So take that, Laker fans.
LeBron.
That's right, LeBron. You can watch playoffs from home, buddy. Have fun with that. Also, on a personal note for me and you, I don't know if you're aware of this, but this weekend marks the 1-year anniversary of when I came on board the Superkickin' It with Steven Shell.
I thought you started to say stupid kicking it. Come on, man. No. Congratulations. Happy stupendous.
Hey, I don't have my.
I did not realize that. I am bad with dates, as you can tell, Greg. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention. But I forgot to give you an anniversary gift, so I apologize. I'm a true husband now because I forgot the anniversary date.
I remembered because I think our debut was the preview show for WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was this week last year.
Yeah, that's
instead of the first week.
Is a little bit later.
Right, and April 10th was my first appearance on the show, and we've been cruising ever since. So happy anniversary, my dude.
Today, Greg. You're hired. You're extended. You got another year. We're on a year-to-year contract. So I don't know. Like I said, you might not like me after I wear my jersey next week, but that's okay. So that is awesome to hear. Yeah, and I guess we could go lighthearted, say congrats to all the couples this week. Carmella and Corey Graves got married on a Thursday, which was but I guess it makes sense in the WWE lore where you can have a little more time off. And then today is Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera, who was kind of a boy band singer-songwriter back in the early 2000s. I don't know if he was ever part of the boy band, but I know he had like one big hit, and I cannot tell you off the top of my head, Greg. But congrats to them. So yeah.
Hey, all right. Shout out to the couples.
I'll be curious to see what pictures show up for Carmella and for Alexa and Ryan. I don't know if you saw for Carmella and Corey, we saw Bailey there, Tamina, Natalia and TJ, Renee and John Moxley rocking his
Nice.
Bengals t-shirt at first with the fanny pack. The fanny pack always makes me think, what are you keeping? Like, I always think of the 90s guys, Greg, like Hogan and Savage and Pipe, like they used to wear the fanny packs, and I'd be like, yeah, what are you carrying in there? But anyways, who else was there that I was surprised? Oh, Liv Morgan and Sonia. So I kind of saw those pictures. And then they had a live band for the reception because they were all singing Bohemian Rhapsody. So that was kind of fun to see. But
Nice.
I was curious to see what WWE stars will show up. Alexa Bliss showed her wedding shoes, Greg, and they were bedazzled Chuck Taylors. So bedazzled
Nice.
Converse All Stars, like the high top. So yes, but congrats to her and Ryan Cabrera. So there you go. The wedding blues are wedding time. It's wedding season, as they say. So. And of
Exactly.
course,
Yeah.
I did not write up in the Raw review, Greg, that yes, Carmella and Corey Graves had a makeout session because apparently Vince McMahon is thirsty lately because between NXT couples and now Corey and Carmella, we're getting a lot of makeout sessions. So in my Raw results, good segue there, I did not put in the Corey Graves and Carmella makeout session because I didn't think there was any need to. So, but there we go. We brought up. We did start out with Cody Rhodes, though. Really good promo. I thought it set the stage for him probably getting one of those titles soon rather than later. Maybe SummerSlam time, Greg. I don't know which one, but I could definitely see that happening. So, yeah. What do you think about the Cody Rhodes speech to start the night and the handshake with Seth Rollins? That is not done yet, as I can tell.
Yeah. I like it. I dug it. And he very thoroughly and without being too overly preachy about it, um, fleshed out his character.
Mm-hmm.
And we got definition. Is he going to be the heel? He's going to be the baby face. It's definitely the heel. I like the angle with putting Dusty's photo on the Tron and explaining that. For those that didn't see it, he was holding, or Dusty was in Madison Square Garden holding up the world title, and he had won it for a couple minutes before the decision was reversed, and one of those false finishes type things. And
Is that where
that's
the
what's been
term the
taken from
Dusty
us.
finish came from? I think.
I think so.
Yeah, because he won it by count out, and then they had to reverse the decision. And who did you say is the heel? Did you say Cody's the heel, or were you saying Seth is the heel?
Now, it did establish that Cody was definitely going to be the baby face,
Okay,
you
sorry.
know,
Yeah, that's
and
what I thought you were
reclaim the
going with.
family honor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and do it for Dusty, kind
Yeah.
of playing on all the heartstrings.
Yes.
And so, definitely going to start title chasing right out the bat. But so we don't know who it won't be. It won't be Roman yet, but
Mm-hmm.
there's plenty of championships floating around as of right now, anyway. If maybe not if they keep doing all these unifications. But
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought about SmackDown. We'll get into that, but we talked about it though. The tag team titles probably need. I think if you do your main titles and tag team, that's enough. I don't think you need to make well, and I guess the women's tag titles. I think that's where I would go as far as unifying. Still keep the IC and US as secondary titles.
yeah, but
Speaking of tag team champions, Sasha Banks and Naomi got a win over Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. We're probably seeing the cracks there, Greg. Liv Morgan, I guess we can. I'll kind of tie in SmackDown because it has to tie in. But Liv Morgan got a good win over Sasha Banks last night, but Rhea was kind of playing the heel up. And I don't know if you. I guess I could have brought this up in our news rumors and all that good stuff, Greg. But Rhea's being mentioned as a possible part of the new Brood 2.0 with Damian Priest and Edge. And I think that could probably be interesting to kind of go that route. Especially maybe if you bring in Beth Phoenix as like a heel type. We haven't seen Beth Phoenix really do heel much lately. So, maybe Beth could be kind of a mentor to Rhea They're both those strong type women, really work, about the same type of rate. So I'm in it. I think, like I said, I think next week they lose, they don't win the match, and then we see the ultimate breakup of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I don't know what that means for either one. I think it means better for Rhea, but because she's just a better heel. I mean, granted, we did have the little WrestleMania moment, Greg, where that fan was like, Rhea lets me be myself. So that's kind of cool. But Rhea's obviously better positioned as a heel. And under Damian Priest, under um, Edge, would be really interesting to see what she could do there.
Yeah, and I was seeing it after the end of that match. It's like finally they're going to let Rhea go heel. Um, and I think this is the situation you just set it up to knock it down with
Yeah.
her storming off, and they go, "Oh, I gave us a tag, and they got us another tag team championship match next week." It's like
Don't screw
this
it
is where you're
up.
going to get, yeah, and this is where Liv is going to get destroyed, and Rhea's going to turn heel, and we're finally going to get a different Rhea, which is something I've been pushing for a long time because she's been very toothless as far as being stuck in these tag teams, and the gimmick is not getting over. She doesn't live up to her nickname, which is
Yeah.
something that I'm big on. If you're the killer, we better see that you're a killer, or and
Mhm.
so on. And her thing is brutality, and she's anything but brutal. So
Mhm.
she needs that, and I would love it if she ended up joining the Brood and letting that brutality out finally. She
Yeah.
already looks the part. She fit right in with Edge and Priest, and let her be healed. We had never seen her be healed. In
Mhm.
NXT, she was the babyface, and when she got to main roster, she was babyface. We haven't got to see real or heel Ripley.
Yeah.
And as long as they let her loose and let her do the heel stuff, that could be the career revitalization she needs because she definitely needs something.
Yeah, yeah, that's your biggest point right there. Really good point made. That I think she needs something different in its time. So, speaking of completely different things, Greg, we saw Elias's younger brother show up on Raw. I can't even take it seriously, but Ezekiel. I'd seen reports that they were. It was funny. I guess Creative had told Elias to cut his hair and shave all off. But Vince never, officially gave it the okay after it happened. So they were trying to wait it out for like Elias to, get things grown back. But now it looks like they're just going to run with it. You know what, Greg? I'm laughing at it, but I'm just going to say it. I'm all in on it. I think, it's something different for Elias. I think it's going to be fun to see him played up. Now, the downfall is it can't be like Abyss or Joseph Park, where, you don't have a different look. You don't have like this darker image. You just have Ezekiel. So, maybe you do this for a little bit and then, maybe the beard starts growing in from time to time, and then you say, "No, I was Elias all along," or something like that. So I, him and Kevin Owens, and I love Kevin Owens not even trying to. I think Kevin Owens helped it by saying, "We all know who you are," but you could do different ways to get Elias back if you're going to do that. And remember, in a way, the last shot we have of Elias was bearing his character. So it
Right.
makes sense to do this Ezekiel younger brother Samson cutting off his hair type avenue. So you know what? Like I said, I'm all in because why not? How about you,
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah. Something different. And I didn't recognize him until somebody said, I don't know if it was Graves that said it first
Yeah,
or if it was KO, but I was looking at him like, okay, he looks kind of familiar, but
yeah,
holy crap, what a difference a beard makes.
hmm
'Cause you don't know what he looks like underneath all that. And
yeah,
he, it's like the Mandy Rose thing, changing the hair color from
hmm
the brightest of yellow to the darkest of black. And it doesn't even look like the same person. It's the same case here.
hmm
The hair is straighter. There's no beard where there was more beard. There's enough beard for three people
hmm
before, and you take off transient clothes and the bandanas and things, and you got a completely different person. So I didn't even recognize him. I'm sure a lot of us in the arena were sitting around going, okay, who is that? Because we know we're going to get some debuts, but who is this guy?
Yeah.
And the backboard says Ezekiel. Well, I'd never seen a white guy named Ezekiel. So, I
I was
mean,
gonna say some people thought
that
it was
was
Ezekiel Jackson. They thought Big
that's
Zeke was coming back.
right. That's kind of what my thought was. I mean,
Yeah.
even in Walking Dead, there's an Ezekiel. He's a black guy. It's like
Mhm.
that's an odd name for a white character. So it's a fun angle. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. If he stays with the comic route, or we eventually end up buying into it or whatever. But we'll go with it, see what happens.
Kevin Owens is going to help make it too, I think, if he keeps playing that up.
Yeah.
That route. So, The Miz defeated Dominic, but it finally happened, Greg. Veer came, and he came hard on Dominic and Ray. So there you go. And now we'll get Veer and Rey Mysterio. And you know what, Greg? Ray's probably going to beat him, isn't he?
Uh,
Are they good? Are
it's I don't know. I think they're going to keep
maybe
playing
not
it out.
yet, but
Yeah, I think Fear's going to get the win. They want to show he's not a clown.
yeah.
You know, him and Shanky were a joke, and if they're really serious about giving them like what 4 or 5 months of of vignettes,
Yeah.
just
They
the
have to do something with it.
yeah. I mean, he's got to stack some wins for a while, I think.
That's
So,
true.
and maybe have a rivalry with Jinder and Shanky just to, you know, show that I'm the top of the food chain as far as those three go,
Yeah.
and not put him back in that group. So,
Talk about a head of hair, though, Greg. Man, that hair is still. He's just like a lion's mane, that hair. So hopefully they never tell him to cut that hair off. So, how about Bianca Belair? Had a little shiner going on. I guess Becky gave her a little receipt. Interesting, we didn't see Becky at all. Really, we didn't see. We don't. I would assume we're doing Bianca and Becky again. But if we go Bailey or Asuka, I'm game for that too. I kind of wonder if we need to go away from Becky and Bianca for a bit and maybe revisit it. But then again, Becky's been, kind of doing social media stuff saying, you can't deny me, you can't deny me. So where do we think the road is going for Bianca right now, Greg?
yeah, I was a little surprised that she got through the segment without getting interrupted. That I thought that a new challenger would come out and we'd have a new storyline to set up, but she
Mm-hmm.
didn't. She did her segment, and that's a nice shiner. I could tell when Becky hit her with the boot during the match, like, oh, that's going to hurt,
Mm-hmm.
because you can see that heel hit very clearly on the cheekbone,
Yeah.
and you can tell she's wearing it now. Um, so yeah, I agree with you that WrestleMania is where these storylines should uh, be signed off on, and we start something new. Uh, Becky's earned some time off to decompress for a little bit, and then come back, get at it again, and maybe find a new challenger, and they work back towards each other, because that's going to be kind of a standing rivalry between those two. But
Like maybe finish it at SummerSlam for good.
well, yeah, bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Becky came
Oh,
out at
yeah. Yeah.
SummerSlam,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the whole thing began, and that could be where it ends. So I can see that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think fitting somebody in the
In the
short term
meantime, yes.
would be a smart idea, and then bringing that uh, Becky back for SummerSlam, and just bringing the whole rivalry to end where it began
Mm-hmm.
would be
Yes.
perfect symmetry.
Yeah, because it is interesting how WrestleMania is not necessarily the end of stuff anymore, as we saw from last night. with Charlotte and Ronda, which we kind of assumed with the way that match ended. But Street Profits defeated Alpha Academy. I still think the Street Profits get the tag team titles down the road. It just feels like, maybe with the newer edge added to them, not necessarily heel, but maybe like New Day type, doing underhanded here and there to try to pick up wins.
Yeah.
I think that's where we kind of see it. How about this though, Greg? Braun Breaker is our new two-time NXT champion, winning on Raw, which is kind of funny because the word was that he was probably stated to go to Raw. So you almost wonder if maybe they'll just, like you said, maybe do the screen test for Braun in the next couple months, and then maybe SummerSlam call him up full time. That's kind of where I foresee things going for Braun. But it's funny because people are like, well, nothing really happened on Raw, and I'm like, yeah, we only got a new NXT champion, and I mean that's a pretty that would normally be enough, wouldn't it? I mean, for a Raw after Mania. So
Yeah.
Interesting that Braun wins the title back. I mean, I still think he should have won it on Saturday. I felt like it wasn't a big moment winning it on Monday, which is kind of weird to say. So what do you think though, Greg?
I disagree. Just for the fact that I think a lot more eyeballs were on him on Monday than were on him on Saturday. And that's probably the reason why they didn't pull the trigger on him winning at Stand and Deliver, because he was going to get that many more eyeballs on him on the Raw after WrestleMania than he would on Saturday. And so it made sense to do the rematch. And if you really want to get him over after, we're still celebrating the buzz of WrestleMania weekend and the Hall of Fame inductions, which saw the Steiner brothers go in. And they're really coming in strong with the relationship of the Steiners and Braun Breaker. Now here's Braun Breaker, and in a championship match, get so much more exposure, probably 2-3 times more exposure than he had on Saturday in his championship match. And now you have a much bigger audience taking him in. And so even when he goes back to NXT, and I think he's going to stay down there for the rest of the year. I don't think he's coming up after SummerSlam. He needs that seasoning. He needs to get that, that road work in and really establish himself, have some solid matches, and have time to make mistakes, because he's not ready. He's definitely not ready. But, he looks the part. His mic skills are on point. And the only thing left that needs to get to that top level is his ring works, which is solid, but it's not where you want to be if you're going to be a top guy. And I'm sure when they bring him up, that they're going to want him to be the top guy, at least one of the top 2-3 guys. So his ring work isn't there yet. So the rest of the year in NXT, and then bring him out for Road to WrestleMania or at WrestleMania, or maybe Raw after WrestleMania would be perfect. Maybe after we have Rock and Roman retains, then boom, here's your next real challenge. And Braun Breaker fully seasoned, ready to go with a whole lot more recognition, because he's doing a little spot moonlighting on the main roster. So you can stay fresh in your mind, would be the way to go. So I don't think we bring him up anytime soon, but this gets him that exposure, puts him in your headspace as we go forward.
That's true. Yeah. And I mean, I want to put it past WWE. I'm not saying it's the best move, Greg, but if you see some, workhorse that you want to call up, you're going to call him up. But I would be interested to see him just really, like you said, get seasoned. He's still a little salty, so he needs a little more seasoning. But speaking of good moves, how about MVP with Omos now? I think that's a huge move, because Omos can't talk worth a lick. So now you have MVP being that mouthpiece. I mean, you had AJ be the mouthpiece, so Unfortunately, Greg almost just might not ever be that mouthpiece that he can. But MVP being with him really opens up another avenue, especially if maybe you have MVP, maybe get a couple more guys under his wing, and then it just builds up Lashley on his own, which I think we've been wanting to see for a while. Finally doing Lashley stuff. So I thought I didn't know why at first MVP wasn't with Lashley, and now it all makes sense. Especially when you had Lashley saying I did it on my own, and then you have MVP come out and be like, try to talk that up like, oh no, you needed me. But yeah, I thought it was a really good move to put almost with MVP and really, we'll build almost up now. I still don't know what the ceiling will be for him, Greg. I just can't see him as champion. You know what? Like, there's just other guys ahead of him, but just being Andre Giant and having a good big man run is probably good enough too. So, what do you think about the move to put MVP with almost, Greg?
It's genius to do that because, like I said, he can't speak on his own to save his life. I mean, I know the idea is to look and sound menacing, but you got to do it clearly, and he cannot do that. So having MVP be the mouthpiece for him is great, and I don't think it really affects his ceiling when you look at the fact that the guy you just mentioned, Andre the Giant, he couldn't speak English to save his life. He couldn't cut a promo to save his life, but he's one of the two guys to be inducted into the Hall of Fame by themselves. So almost can still do that if they treat him correctly in the Andre-ish type fashion. Andre was a lot bigger deal than almost is now as far as a guy of that size and the shock value and everything. We've seen giants come and go over the last decades, and it's nothing new now. But so it's just all about how they do it. Put him with MVP, let him be the bad guy, and you got something with that. So it's a genius pairing, and Lashley's the perfect first guy to help him clear that first hurdle as far as getting that status and that notoriety as being more than just a big man.
Yeah, definitely. Also, in theory, the Usos defeated RK Bro and Finn Balor. Then we also saw Roman Reigns mention to the Usos last night, Greg, that he wants the Usos to bring home the Raw tag team titles. But now with this defeat on Monday night, I don't see it happening yet. But do we see the Usos getting the Raw tag team titles as well at some point?
Sadly, yes.
So they have all the gold.
Right. It just plays into the storyline. The bloodline runs the show. And maybe this is where we see Solo come up and be the deciding piece in that match, that unification match, where maybe Heyman gets thwarted, or he distracts the referee while Solo comes up from the opposite end and super kick somebody, and then there goes your championships. But this is really a way to build the whole storyline with the bloodline. This be a perfect entrance point for Solo, and people are going to be buzzing about that. And then if they have all the gold, the unified tag team champs, unified world champ, and then you have the bigger narrative of we control everything, and then everybody has to rise up to meet them. So I like it. I think it's going to happen. It's kind of like the prophecy of gold, the undisputed era during the black and gold NXT. And while they were doing that, the matches, the rivalries were great. So maybe they're trying to go for that again. So I definitely see it happening.
We'll get to it. Roman Reigns really came out to state his dominance. Nobody interrupted him yet until last night, and we'll get into that, Greg. But that was kind of the end of Raw. But we also saw Edge and and Damian Priest beat down AJ Styles. I'm going back and forth on, now I'm wondering if maybe Ciampa could help AJ Styles because we haven't seen Ciampa last night on SmackDown, so maybe they are deciding to put him on Raw. That's probably where I'd go with that, kind of put Ciampa in a high quality feud off the bat, working with, three of the top guys, three of the top Raw guys right now. So I kind of like Ciampa in that role. I mean, I thought Finn Balor too, but it looks like Finn Balor's still busy with Austin Theory. So maybe you bring Ciampa in to kind of help AJ fight off Edge and Damian Priest at Backlash, maybe a tag team match. But yeah, I mean, AJ obviously needs somebody, right, Greg, to kind of help him in this feud. So any thoughts on who could help him out?
No, but I like Ciampa. To put him in there, AJ and Ciampa have already crossed paths during the whole Dolph Ziggler storyline.
Yep.
And so there's that familiarity there. They've already had, I think they had a tag team match on Raw during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make, a good logical sense to bring him in, like you said, put him in a high profile angle with somebody like AJ who's only going to make him look great, and have finally the entrance point for Ciampa, permanently on the main roster. So
Yeah.
He's the perfect guy for that.
Yeah, I don't know where he's listed, for being on, but I think Raw seems like a better fit. So, I was trying to think, was there anything else that we missed? I was trying to think if there's any promos pretty much it was kind of promo city last night on SmackDown. So we'll get into that. Was there anything else, Greg, you wanted me to catch up on Raw that you thought I missed?
No, we got the debuts, which surprisingly there weren't a lot of them, which I was surprised by. I expected more.
I felt like they kind of saved it for last night. I felt like so.
Yeah.
But looking at NXT, I guess the big news there was Gunther getting getting an NXT title shot, Greg, and then losing because he's now on SmackDown. But the end of NXT saw Joe Gacy and Harland have Rick Steiner in a little shark cage. See, I knew they had those shark cages still left, Greg. So if there's one thing we know that NXT loves, Greg, it's kidnapping, abduction angles. So now we have Braun Breaker having to go, somehow find his dad. So Joe Gacy's the next man up, I guess, for Braun Breaker. How are we feeling about that?
It's gonna be fun, especially as cult leaderish, psychotic that Gacy's becoming more and more every week.
Mm-hmm.
I dig the angle because it's not going to be just a simple, match, smash, next kind of scenario. It's going to go on for a little bit. And with him and having Harlan as his muscle, and then maybe the other guy that they're recruiting is escaping me for a second.
Draco?
Yeah, Draco. I think he's going to end up in the loops.
Here, real quick, Greg, do we see Rick Steiner in a tag match with Braun against Harland and Joe Gacy?
Interesting. I
don't know. I mean, Rick did look a little bit better than Scott Steiner. I'll say that. So maybe Rick can get one match out of himself.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is that while they showed him that shark cage, he was sitting down, so they could see what he looks like stature-wise.
I mean, I guess I was just thinking
such,
at
so.
the Hall of Fame, it didn't look like he looked okay. But I was just kind of wondering, I'm like, because like you said, this is once again like AJ kind of has, we don't know who's going to help AJ. I mean, I don't know who's going to kind of help Braun. I mean, LA Knight, if he's not getting called up, I guess. But I think we didn't even see LA Knight, so I think that's why they're saving him for Raw or SmackDown. But yeah, I kind of wonder if we might get Braun and his dad. It's like LeBron and his son playing in the NBA together at some point, Greg. That'd be kind of fun to see, a tag match on NXT, and then you can have Joe Gacy and Braun fight for the titles. So, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you there, but that I did not want to escape that point. So yeah, I'd be interested to see Draco in there too. It feels like he keeps showing up, but we haven't seen him all out in it. So the Creed brothers get attacked again, this time by Pretty Deadly, another NXT UK team, Greg. So it's funny how they're just filling our funneling in NXT UK talent down to NXT. I guess good for those guys if they want to, make the move here and kind of see what they could do here. But when we finally got to see a team that attacks somebody and actually get it play out. So, and then like we already kind of talked up Imperium falling apart. Unfortunately, I just think the writing's on the wall for Fabian. I just don't see him stick around much longer. Any thoughts on the Creed brothers and now Pretty Deadly? I think they're former NXT UK champions as well, Craig.
Yeah, it was a smart move to bring them in from UK. Especially like we were saying, there's nothing left in NXT in the tag team division, so they need to bring talent from somewhere. My only reservation is that everybody they bring from UK, they seem to, ruin the gimmick too much. So they've stayed true to the course with Imperium. Thankfully, grizzled young veterans were probably like one of the biggest tag teams in NXT UK, and when they came to America, they became kind of a comedy act. So, they got really defined down, and now this Pretty Deadly team. I haven't seen any of their matches, so I can't say anything about them, but they look like the real deal, and they're getting pumped up like they are, and as long as they can come and bring some good matches, and looks like they're going to be heels.
Yeah.
Let the heels be heels, and you'll have some good stuff going on. So I'm hopeful that they can deliver, and they don't go the way of the grizzled young veterans, and let them be serious, have a great rivalry.
I mean, it does feel like at least NXT UK has brought in, or NXT has brought in ready-made people from the UK. We're not getting green characters. We're not getting, people that need NXT necessarily, but it helps this NXT UK brand. So, Cameron Grimes was challenged by Solo. Like you said, Greg, I'm ready to call up Solo. I know it's probably too soon in a way, but I think he can work some matches with his brothers, with Roman, and just kind of learn on the fly, So I kind of wonder if after this, if Solo gets the call up here soon, and probably a good challenge for Cameron Grimes right now. I'll be interested to see Cameron Grimes kind of where he goes with the NXT North American Championship too, Greg.
Yeah, it fits the scenario that I was just painting with the prophecy of gold for the bloodline. Because you notice there were quite a few references to the bloodline in Cameron Grimes's one-on-one with Solo. Solo mentioned the bloodline, and Cameron Grimes called him Oos, so they're not hiding it at all. So I think we're going to end up being the same as Braun and Gunther, that they have their big match. Cameron Grimes wins, and then we see Solo turn up on SmackDown or Raw, helping the Usos beat RK Bro, and then you go have a 5-piece member of the bloodline with a new addition in there. So it fits the storyline, it fits the timeline perfectly.
Dexter, Duke, count out.
Yeah. Next.
Moving on. Okay. Toxic Attraction get the tag team titles back because we saw Raquel Rodriguez. Not a big name change, so I don't think that's a big deal, honestly, for her. It'll be interesting to see how she is portrayed, of course, on SmackDown, but I still think we need to call up Dakota as well. But hey, Toxic Attraction back with the gold, Greg, and yeah, I don't know who's next for them. Maybe we probably got to circle back to Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai, I would imagine, since they kind of didn't totally do that, but we'll kind of see where that goes, right?
Yeah. Um, Dakota must feel like a redhead stepchild. Like, why is everybody getting called up but me?
Yeah, that is
Um,
true.
I feel bad for. I mean, Tegan Knox got called up before her. Um,
Mhm.
we don't when we need to put Shotzi on a milk carton because I haven't seen her in forever.
Mhm.
But all these girls who've gone up before her and she's still down there. Um, her talent is getting wasted. But as far as next woman up, I think this smart thing, the top of the food chain now is um, EO, and unless you got some new people and you got some girls on the rise, my side piece Nikita,
She got a
and
big win.
absolutely Lash looks like a bigger version of Naomi.
Yeah.
Looks and sounds like a bigger version of Naomi. Uh, be interesting to see what they do with those girls. But
The timeline was thirsty with that match, Greg, on with Tuesday night. I heard. So
oh,
there you go.
plenty of
Uh,
memes to be had for that match for sure.
yes, I'm sure there's plenty of gifs going around. Maybe Tiffany Stratton could get some tag team partner. I mean, I don't really see much in her yet, so I think she could be good for that. So Tony D'Angelo had a little made man ceremony. I still think probably the number two heel until Grayson Waller goes away and moves
Yeah,
up. But we'll kind of see. Now he's got AJ Galante with him, right? And we'll kind of see how that plays up. They could be a tag team as well. So and then Braun Breaker, of course, defeated Gunther with the big storyline being Rick Steiner getting abducted, kidnapped, because, like we said, NXT loves that and makeout sessions. So
yeah.
that's all there. That's half their writing right now. So
Well, so much for the
uh,
safe place that Gacy's always talking about.
there is no safe place with him. Well, that's a whole gimmick. You got to think it's just, he's just talking out of his mouth, but it's opposite. Obviously, he's a hypocrite because he's going to do the opposite of whatever he says. So, because that's what that's usually conspiracy theorists, Craig. So, and they just talk out, random stuff and don't really mean it. So, I think it plays up for what it is. I would be interested how on the main roster it would translate. So, you're going to have to refine a little bit for that. But yeah, so that's NXT. And of course, we got to SmackDown last night. SmackDown after WrestleMania, because, like we said, this was kind of the big debuts. We saw Gunther there. We saw Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin break up. We saw Ludwig Kaiser with Gunther. And we also saw Lacey Evans. I want to start there, Greg. How about the Lacey Evans promo? Everybody's loving it. I wonder if they should have just went that route at the very beginning with her.
Yeah, I can see why they didn't because in NXT, remember she debuted during the black and gold era,
Yeah,
and the character she was
they're more
playing,
character
it
based.
was
Yeah,
way over.
yeah.
Even as a heel, um, we loved it. The drawl, and she was good in the ring. So we bought in, and the girls she was in there uh, fighting, they were. She had some really good rivalries before she got called up, and then she got mixed in with Charlotte and the Ric Flair storyline, and things started going downhill, and
So
then she
maybe
got
the
injured.
pregnancy was a blessing in disguise. Because remember, that was the whole feud with Charlotte right before she got pregnant. And man,
Right,
we were trashing that up the wazoo. So maybe in a way, it's probably good for her to go away and
right.
have that time to really define the character.
Yeah, and now she's back. She's been gone for so long, we pretty much forgot she existed, and
Mhm.
this is the perfect time to take away the Southern Belle gimmick and the drawl
Mhm.
and just have her come out real and going in such depth with the backstory and everything, make her a sympathetic character. And when she comes out, you know, new music, new gear, and it's like the black and gold Lacey never existed. So smart, and look forward to seeing how
Are you
when she
buying
does
into
debut, how
her?
it looks. Well, I liked her from the black and gold era, so
Okay.
she already has some goodwill in the bank with me.
Okay.
So I'm rooting for her, and I hope she gets back to the being one of the top girls in the women's division. So
I'm still
um,
kind of, and I'm like, obviously you could tell my tone. I'm mixed on it. I don't know. I just don't see anything in her. And I guess it's interesting because they're like, oh, this is part one. So like, how many parts will we need before she actually comes back? You know what I mean? Like, do we need that? Like, I felt like you pretty much sold everything yesterday, I would think.
yeah,
But I guess
you
we'll
could
kind of,
overdo it with the Heart Luck story.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, maybe just next week another, promo, and then she's kind of back. It'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts to her.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's like I said on Twitter wise, which is of course its own vacuum. I mean, people are loving it. So, like you said, I think presenting a real side of her. She's a mom. I mean, she's always been the mom part. You could always see that. But yeah, now kind of presenting the past as well. So, should we get into Gunther making his debut with Ludwig, Greg? I mean, people were, he's in the red coat. Some were saying that's a homage to Nazi regalia, but he's Austrian, so there is red on their flag as well. So we'll see. Um, he still looks like a hoss, so as long as they kind of keep him like that, and maybe they have um, Marcel be his mouthpiece for a little bit, Greg. We can kind of see
hmm
where that goes. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I always said Walter was the one guy I never wanted to see on the main roster.
Yeah,
Just let him be Walter, and I'm saying Walter on purpose because
yeah.
they've already started ruining it.
They're chanting
Um,
Gunther.
yeah, I loved it. That was funny. They're clearly chanting Walter. Look, they're chanting Gunther. Yeah, no, they're not. But now that he's on the main roster, you can see that they haven't changed the overall gimmick. The white backdrop, the music's changed is still along the same vein, so it's
Yeah.
not too horrible a switch up. Um, and you have the other Ludwig van, whatever his name is,
Hmm.
um, brutal name change. You thought Gunther was bad. Holy crap. Um, but, he's still Walter with a different name. I like to give him a squash match and hope to give him a series of squash matches just to,
Kind of build him up.
yeah, build him up and then get him into a good feud and show that he can go and make him look like a serious contender for whoever's champion. So uh, I'm going to keep my fingers really crossed tight that they don't ruin him and
Yeah.
have him join the job squad anytime soon because he doesn't deserve that. He's
I
should have way too much goodwill built up now.
I thought he was going to be the guy to come out of the door when Sami Zayn was looking for an opponent, Greg, and Sami Zayn's like the next guy coming out the door. Then I kind of thought they'd play up, Walter there, but they played up Drew McIntyre. I guess we'll get into that real quick. I know I'm jumping all around, but hey, we got the results right there, so if you can catch up for yourself. But Drew, Greg, and Sami Zayn now. I mean, they must really wanted us to put us Drew on the back burner until they're ultimately ready for him to go out for Roman, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And hey, Sammy is a big step up from Happy Corbin. So at
that's
least there's
true.
that.
Yeah,
He's it's upward mobility.
yeah,
Um, and Sammy's going to be Sammy, and he's he's making his way to Roman, and so it's going to happen sooner than later at this point. So I'm thinking, around SummerSlam, just maybe we could get that Drew Roman match, but you
Yeah.
need that time to build up to it.
Yeah, and that's what's it's just interesting to me that man, Drew. I mean, and Drew will make it work. I mean, he made it work last night. I liked him not celebrating the count out win. Like, he didn't take any credit for it. So that was kind of, that's a different way of going about it. So, Liv Morgan defeated Sasha Banks. We've already kind of brought that up. How about the beginning of Raw, Greg? We saw Ronda Rousey out there. I thought she was going to give us those two words, Greg, submission match, but she said, I quit match. I quit matches are tough because it's that whole the referee has to walk over to you and say, "Do you quit? Do you quit?" It's always like, and whenever you're on the ground, like you could get that first shot in, and they have to ask you, "You quit?" Like it's kind of weird how they play that up, but obviously we're going to get it. I assume today, social media wise, we'll see it's official. Adam Pearce will say it's official. And how about that little segment, Greg, where he has the note, he has to read it, where it says Ronda wants to see you. I'm like, is this like, like asking a grade school asking, do you like me? Circle yes or circle no? Like, I mean, it was nice. At least they had his name on there. I did kind of joke. That's, it is those little things that matter. And they did have his name on there. At least it wasn't some, blank
Right.
piece of paper. But Charlotte and Ronda in a I Quit match, yay, nay, maybe.
Hey, yeah, I'm all for it. It'd be too easy to give the people what they want and submission match.
Yeah.
But this is the next best thing. So um, you can still go with you're going to tap out, angle, but maybe having to say I quit is even worse than um, tapping out. So I get
Because I
it.
don't know if Charlotte has said those words. We know Charlotte has tapped out. Sasha made her tap out a couple times. Now I don't know if Charlotte has ever lost in a quit match or if she's. I'm trying to think if she's even been in one. I'd have to look up her wrestling reference to see that, but
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
that's a
think she's
bigger
been in
deal.
one.
Yeah, so that
Uh,
would be a bigger deal because it's Charlotte.
right, and it was all going to be so interesting because there's no ancillary characters to involve.
Yes,
Because
yep,
remember, the last time we saw an I Quit match was, I believe, Roman and Jey Uso,
hmm yeah.
and he only quit because his
His brother
brother
came in.
was
Yep.
was getting beaten to crap, and
hmm
he said, "I quit."
Yep.
So there's no outside characters, no manager, there's
hmm
no other people involved. It's just Charlotte and Ronda,
hmm
and there's no other reason to cause either one of them to quit. So for that reason, I really like it from that angle.
Or we could play
And
up the old Mick Foley Rock match where Mick Foley's laying on the ground, passed out, and somehow he magically he says I quit. I think they played that up with the Miz too. I think the Miz had an I quit match where he just used a tape recording. They used the backstage um, use of that. So, how about the Broken Nose Club, Greg, of Butch, Ridge, and Sheamus? What is going on with these Irishmen and their noses? Do they have the most fragile noses ever, or is the New Day just like F it? I'm just going to break their nose because now you had Butch bleeding from the nose yesterday against Xavier Woods, who. And what about Xavier Woods saying, "Oh yeah, it's after WrestleMania, so the record's reset"? And then I'm like, you just said this after Ronda and Charlotte are still feuding, but whatever. It'd be nice if we played up that avenue. But I mean, it was a different way to bring it about. Kind of clearing the air. But
yeah,
a couple of avenues there. I just thought Pete Dunne must just have this must be. We got to call them Broken Nose Club now, right? We're done with the Fight Club. They're the Broken Noses Club because man, they must have the most fragile cartilage in their nose ever.
that or just decided to use their noses as weapons. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's and the whole reset thing. with it just because Woods is the gamer. So who else would go to the whole reset than him? And
And no King gimmick anymore.
right, I noticed that was gone. We haven't had a new King in the ring yet, but um, King Woods is no longer a thing apparently.
I would assume Zelina probably drops it too soon.
Yeah.
But
Um, so yeah, interesting angle, and at least you put the seed in the minds of everybody that we're back to 0-0, new season premiere.
yeah.
You know, who better to launch that train of thought than Woods? So
And we got a Madcap Moss face turn. Who would have thunk it, Greg? Now, just give him some wrestling gear, and you can call it a day. Because I mean, you had a good champ for him too. I mean, and I like that they didn't play the. It was last week we saw the splinter, and now we broke them up. We don't need to. Sometimes, these tag teams breaking up are, you don't need to play it out a long time sometimes. And this felt like one of those, Greg, that you had the split last week, the fracture showing. You played it up this week and you pulled the trigger. Like that's the way you should probably do it. So,
yeah,
do we? I'll be interested to see where Madcap goes. Does he keep Madcap Moss? Somebody brought up what about Mayhem Moss? I kind of like that name, but it still makes me think of Wardlow too much. But it's going to be interesting to see Moss as a face character because we really haven't seen it. Maybe he just gets his name back, Riddick. So how are we feeling about the Madcap Moss face turn, Greg?
it was good. I like the way he did it. Um, playing it up where you know do it as this, be funny and do it as if your job depends on it. And he just finally decides to grow a backbone and stand up to Corbin, and that's going to get everybody to pop for him. Um, so the way they paid it off, it was great, and then have him get the better of Corbin, and pretty much earn his own freedom.
Destroyed. Yep.
Yeah, it was a perfect way to split him up. So, like I said, it does take a month worth of build up to do it. Something like that is perfect. Um, so I liked it, and it was a good way to introduce him, as an unknown character into the WWE universe, and
Mhm.
um, define him. So
Yeah.
it was perfect. Even if he comes out as Mayhem Moss or whatever next week, everybody knows who he is now. And I think now he can fit into the role that Boogs has left,
Mhm.
because he's that same type of guy.
Yeah.
Seems like he could lift a small car, and
Mhm.
he is very athletic and powerful, has that same type of build. And um, I think taking away the whole jokey joke gimmick, um, could still be that kind of Boogs type character.
Mhm.
So I'd see something like that for him, and everybody seems to be super behind it
Yeah.
from the reaction that he got. So
Mhm. I was
curious to
just
see where they go.
surprised because I wasn't really sure if it would work out for him that way. And then speaking of surprises, how about Shinsuke Nakamura answering the call of Roman Reigns? I and I love I guess it's almost like the Godfather type look, Greg, that Roman gave to he hugs him almost like A2 Brute, like Caesar getting
Yeah,
taken out. Um, Shinsuke and Roman, though, I think this is one of the times Shinsuke steps it up when he's in a high profile feud. So I feel like
right.
we'll see some of the old Shinsuke that we've been missing. And it's a good filler feud for both guys. Because like we said, I'm not ready to visit Cody and Roman yet. And then nobody's taken out Roman yet. So and Shinsuke needs something to do. So why not try to get him feel motivated again? And kind of if we could only get rid of the Mike's Hard Lemonade gear, Greg, but looks like he looks like he's officially sponsored by them. So unfortunately, I'll just have to look past that and quit nitpicking on it. But Shinsuke and Roman next up, Greg. How are you feeling about it?
Uh, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. Especially if they, you know, Shinsuke can get the upper hand in some cases. Um, is he going to win it? No, but can we have, one of those matches where, he puts it on him so much that, he takes a disqualification just to get away from him, or,
Yeah.
um, we see the Usos interfere because, he just took that Kinshasa and that pin is about to happen. If they put him over strong, absolutely, this could be, a great rivalry because Shinsuke is that good. But he's been a little bit less than he can be because of the whole things he's been doing with Boogs for so long, and that being so over as it was. So now with no Boogs, it's time to reset. There's that word again, reset Nakamura, and put him over strong, and then present him as a legit challenger for Roman. So I like the placement there, and you don't have to rush anybody into next challenger for Roman with him there. So I think it fits, and we could get a good series of matches out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they know who they want to put next for Roman. I mean, it just you kind of you just you have Roman and then everybody else right now. So, and then Raquel did have the little backstage promo, brushing off Los Lotharios. So I think that's a good way to kind of build her up as her own independent, strong woman. So I think that was a fine. She didn't take the kiss from them. She denied them the kiss. So, I think that's fine for her to do. Um, any thoughts on that, real quick, Greg?
Yeah, she better have, because
It made
if
me
she
feel.
had, what they were going to do with her, like, oh.
Yeah,
So I was kind of holding my breath until she shot them both down. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
now we're good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it'd be you've got to bring Shotzi back in there. I saw she was dealing with the death of her father, so who knows how long that takes to process. So hopefully she's due back soon. And then you got Shotzi coming back. Liv Morgan building up. I mean, we got some young women just ready to break through that glass. Kind of bring that new wave of the women. So um, yeah. So that was SmackDown. Anything I missed there?
Now that you bring up the young women, I still am hopeful. Yeah, hopeful is the right word. That even though it seems like an impossibility at this point, that Aaliyah 317 can still be a thing.
Yeah.
Um, it is such a great gimmick to get carried on, and if she come out as the anti-hero babyface, female Stone Cold type, she's already got the gimmick ready to go. Why isn't anybody, press play on it? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out into the universe and hope it can happen. It worked for Finn, it worked for to a lesser extent. At least he got the championship. It's worked for Ricochet, and I'm putting it on Aaliyah. Get her out there and let the Austin or the Aaliyah 317. Let's do it.
I'm uh I'm afraid she's on the chopping block too, Greg, but that's just my thinking. I think they trot her out there, saw what she could do. I just don't know. I don't think they see much, because like you said, I just think there's too many women in front of her right now. So, I don't know. And she's kind of an NXT homegrown person. I mean, she was on that Breaking Ground show with like Baron Corbin way back in the day when NXT had that
Right.
little show. So she's been around, but the fact that you're, what last year finally did something with her, and now she's gone, or not gone, but she just back in catering. That just definitely tells me something there. So
Yeah, they missed a moment at WrestleMania where, Stone Cold could have been doing a segment backstage or a quick
yeah,
interview and
maybe
have
she could
Aaliyah
show
walk
up.
up. He's wearing his Austin 316 and she's wearing her Aaliyah 317, and he kind of gives her a thumbs up or something. that could have
Are the women's battle royal? I mean, we didn't even have that.
right.
So, who's to say that couldn't have helped her out? But yeah. So let's get some commercial breaks in before we get into not NXT, AEW. Some stuff happened there as well that we'll have to talk up. So let's get some Rogue Energy going, elite performance, and then we'll save our last commercial for last call. Let's hit up some good points and high points of AEW from Dynamite the other Wednesday night. So first off, we had Adam Cole defeat Christian Cage. Big news there, Greg, is Adam Cole, Hangman Adam Page, Texas Death Match. I know, like, some people brought up they've only done 4 or 5 of these in the existence of AEW, but Greg, did we just do this with Adam Page 2 months ago? I mean, it's pretty recent. So
Yeah.
how are we feeling about a Texas Death Match now between Adam Cole and Adam Page? I guess it's a way to stop to really finish a feud off for now, maybe, and then revisit it down the road if you go that route. But how are we feeling about another, like I said, I think it's been a couple months, but still, that seems kind of soon.
Yeah, well, maybe they're making this Hangman's signature match.
Yeah.
He just beat Lance Archer in the same match, and maybe this becomes a thing now. Texas Death Match, Hangman Adam Page. No, nothing says cowboy like Texas. So that this could be the gimmick going forward. This could be the Undertaker Hell in a Cell symbolism type of thing, word association. So if they're doing this for Hangman, good on him.
Yeah.
I like it. But it's setting up a great match. The first match was great, and you can legitimately wonder who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But they're making this Hangman signature. I expect Hangman to win. But if it just happens to be a coincidence, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Adam Cole could win.
Yeah.
And that would set up a whole lot of interesting scenarios moving forward. So it's going to be real fun.
Yeah, I do want to see how. I guess I'll just wait and see how the match plays out as far as that goes. So we had a couple Owen Hart qualifiers. Samoa Joe defeated Max Caster, obviously. The big news, though, for Samoa Joe, though, is Minoru Suzuki for the ROH TV title, Greg. I'm saying give it to Samoa Joe. Give him the ROH TV title and let him carry that for a little bit of time. What do you think, Greg, next week? Samoa Joe getting the TV title of ROH.
Well, first of all, so happy to see Joe back on TV.
And the Muscle Buster.
I've loved Joe for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Going all the way back to TNA in the 100 and something match winning streak. Uh, Dude's always been a beast, always been great on the mic, always, with the psychological game, the facials, the everything, just total package. And I've missed seeing Joe on my TV. So happy to see him back. Uh, Plus the whole thing with Max Caster and his reaction to the stuff that Max Caster was saying in his raps
Mm-hmm.
was hilarious. Where he's everything that Max Caster is saying is pretty much true, and Joe's
Yeah.
just, yeah, you got a point there, uh-huh, and then he goes and kills him. So, you know, get your piece in now, son, because you're about to get this work. So it was fantastic. So happy to see Joe back. Uh, him and Max, still had a great match. And then the Minoru Suzuki, we already seen Suzuki with those in those matches with John Moxley and
Mm-hmm.
a couple of the other guys. Um, Guy's a beast, but what is he, like 60, 70? It looks like.
He's up there.
He's I'm sure he looks older than he is, but
Mm-hmm.
probably not by much. So
Mm-hmm.
I expect a great hoss fight with him and Joe definitely taking the strap, and um, Joe being a longtime ROH guy anyway, it just fits perfectly to transition the title over to him. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to a barn burner of a match between those two.
And then we also had Akira Shida defeat Julia Hart. I'll keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. I'll keep saying it. Give me emo Julia. But Greg, Serena Deeb and Shida, like, is this the feud that never ends? Like, I don't know why we keep revisiting this well, because last time they're like, oh, this is the final chapter. Oh, but wait, we got an epilogue. We got an epilogue coming up. Um, do we still need to see Shida and Serena Deeb go at it? Because I'll be honest, I don't need to. I think both women need to move on. I guess it's telling that they can't figure out what to do with them, unfortunately. But yeah, talk me out of it, Greg. I guess, or how are you feeling about it? Because yeah, I'm not really sold on it.
Well,
Continuing.
uh, first of all, I think we are definitely seeing the heel turn of Julia Hart as
Mm-hmm.
evidenced in this match.
Yep.
Um, she started off with jumping Sheeta before the bell, and
Mm-hmm.
then trying to choke her with her varsity jacket,
Yep.
and then kicking the varsity blondes out of the
Out of the
ringside
ring.
area,
Yep.
and she was just healing it up the whole match.
Mm-hmm.
So it is happening, and I think the House of Black prediction is right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see at some point the blackout happening, Aleister Black coming out and taking off that eye
Embracing
patch,
her.
and then she's got a black eye area that looks like his.
Because they've already
So
kind of showed underneath. She does have some makeup she's been rocking underneath there. Like you can
yeah,
see just a touch of it.
right.
So
So
yeah.
I think we're gonna see that when we have the big reveal and the eye patch comes off. So
Mm-hmm. Good.
I think we are correct on that one. As far as the Sheeta and Serena Deep thing happens or goes, the back and forth with these two has been long running with Deep ruining the 50th match
Mm-hmm.
um, celebration, then putting her on the shelf, and then Serena coming back and ruining or Serena's chance at getting the title shot,
Mm-hmm.
and just the genuine heat that they built up between each other. Um, it's going to keep going for a little bit until we get a cage match, and maybe trying to build these two up, Britt Baker Thunder Rosa style.
Yeah. Okay.
A lights out match between these two, I think, is a definite possibility, and that's going to help both of them, especially if it ends up performing on a level. I don't expect it to be better, but on a level as Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker did.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what we've seen with Serena, and as I said, I was never really a big Serena Deeb fan from the beginning, and I saw her beginning in a straight edge society, and
Mm-hmm.
having her gorgeous long hair cut off on live TV in the ring by CM Punk, and that broke my heart. But she's really, won me over as a fan with, how brutal her matches are and
Mhm.
the sadistic sneer and, just making it look easy.
Yeah.
Heels being heels, getting the healing up, and that's how you do it. And then you have the favorite come back like Sheeta, and she pulls the um, aggression out of Sheeta too. So
Mhm.
it's all the elements for uh, a great feud, great rivalry. Even though it's been as long running as it has been, I
Yeah.
think they're building it up to one of those big lights out type matches, a big cage match or a big blow off match
Yeah.
of that type of magnitude. I think that's where it's going.
And probably
So
double or nothing. And double or nothing would be fine for that to kind of let that play out. But
yeah,
and I guess I shouldn't complain about it, Greg, because usually we just have the women's division of the title picture, and that's it. So this has been a nice under the radar, kind of side quest that we usually don't see from. So there we go. I'm stepping back from the ledge a little bit. I won't jump off the ledge yet, but now if they have the big blow off match, Greg, and they still keep feuding, I'm allowed to take the full leap off. But anyways, so Battle of Sean's happened. Sean Dean, Captain Sean Dean defeated Sean Spears. Has Sean Spears won anything ever, Greg? Like I feel like
I really don't think so. So something's never changed from leaving NXT
I
and then
mean, he
coming over
must be
to.
doing. He has to do something right though, because he shows up on TV. He works, in the ring. So the big news there was Wardlow distracting it. So now we're gonna get MJF and Sean Dean. Do we see Wardlow messing that up as well, Greg?
Yeah, I think Wardlow is just going to make life miserable for
Yeah,
what's left of the Pinnacle until he gets his match with Max.
yeah.
So um, love what they're doing with it, and then I think if he ends up costing MJF his match against the Captain next week, then there's your catapult into Max changing his mind and going, okay, I'm going to take care of you myself, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I definitely think it's going to happen again next week.
And then we had some tag team quality matches. The Hardy Boys defeated Butcher and Blade. We saw Sting and Darby Allin come out as well, I believe. So that stuff just keeps the Hardys and the Butcher and Blade and the Andrade. It just keeps going around, around and around. But we did have Andrade. I love that he was using the bunny. Oh, by the way, Greg, how funny was Rhea Ripley looking like the bunny at WrestleMania? I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And side note as well, the whip that Liv Morgan had at WrestleMania, Greg, is auctioned off, and the bid is at $5,000 right now. So, yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, she used it on a few ladies that she's not releasing those names. So, so some creepy person with some money to splurge is totally going to buy that whip. Um, for their own personal reasons. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, speaking of feuds that never end, are we done with the Hardys and Andrade, Butcher and Blade stuff, Greg?
No. And you know what I think it is that who's going to do Stadium Stampede now?
Yeah,
The
that
inner
probably
circle
be
is
it.
gone. The pinnacle is pretty much gone. You're going to need 4 or 5 piece faction
For double or
together
nothing.
to do the Stadium Stampede,
Yeah,
and looks like this may be it.
yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah. And then I'll get into that because I thought they talked about Blood and Guts coming back too. So I don't know if they'll use that for this, or maybe they might use that for like FTR, the Young Bucks, because I feel like that could be something there too. So speaking of which, FTR, talk about an organic face turn, Greg. This is probably the one of the more organic face turns we've had in a bit. in any wrestling company. It's amazing to see how much the crowd is really behind FTR right now, defeating the Young Bucks. And I mean, just keep rolling them out there. It'll probably be awesome to see when the time comes when Bret Hart shows up with Dax and Cash. I think that'll be a cool moment to see. And I wonder if that might be the Double or Nothing, kind of coming out party. Maybe they show with Bret Hart at their side then, because it's coming. Obviously, I think it's all about how much does Bret want to make an appearance. I would assume so. But yeah, I can't get enough of FTR and Young Bucks, Greg. That is one feud. I'll just say just keep that going.
Yeah, what a fantastic match. I mean, that was the one match you're usually doing, texting or doing some things while I'm watching it, but that was the match you stop what you're doing and just watch this thing because it was that good. And they delivered beyond what I expected. And I expected a great match.
Well, putting in the main
Um,
event helps it too. Like that, this is one of the times that I think you've had the right main event. Like
yeah,
we
yeah, they
do
didn't
fault
open with it, thankfully.
we do fault with AEW sometimes that their placement of matches is a little off, but this was the perfect main event.
Right. It had all the swerves and the false finishes, you think it's going one way and then it goes the other and back and forth. Just an amazing match. So, hats off to both teams. They put on a real show that could have been the last match of a double or nothing or all in, and we would have gone home super happy. So they put that match on TV and it was the bomb. So um, loved it. Loved that they kept it on FTR, and looking forward to another one because now they're 1-1. Both teams have won a match, so there's got to be a third, of course. So maybe that's going to come in at a double or nothing or whatever the next big show is. So you have that to work towards, and promos are cut, and it's just more great TV waiting for us.
Breaking news, real quick. Not that's that breaking, but there we go. We have the rematch set to go between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte. It will be an I Quit match. So, Greg, we just we talked it into existence, and there it is.
Hey, there we go.
But speaking of the Black Combat Club, that might as well have been Rampage last night, right? We bookend with Bryan Danielson defeating Trent Beretta, and of course, Wheeler Yuta's coming out party, bleeding all over the place. There's one picture somebody got, Greg, where the blood on Wheeler is like literally shooting out, not dripping, like legit coming out. So whoever got that picture, man, they'll probably make some money off that. So looks like Wheeler is officially in the Blackpool Combat Club. Talk about just a perfect way to build somebody up. That's what they've done with Wheeler.
Yeah, holy crap, dude. If that match didn't get him into the club, nothing would. I mean,
Nothing will. Yes.
wow, what a banger of a match. That was awesome.
Mhm.
And, especially all the spots where John Moxley gets his pins, he didn't get it. He kicked out of the paradigm shift. He figured a way out of the bulldog choke.
Mhm.
And then he put it on Moxley. And then, getting busted open and just firing back up and just being a zombie. Every time you put him down, he just got right back up and got meaner. Just such an awesome match. I was digging Yuta over these last, couple months. You can
Mhm.
see the flashes in him. And then this angle with the Blackpool Combat Club and having those matches with Danielson and Moxley now, yeah, 100% all in. This dude fits in with them, and that match is the perfect example of why. Because I didn't see his Supercard of Honor match, but you can see why he's the champ now. Dude's a beast, and now we really got to see what he's capable of. He just showed that tenacity, just that pit bull in him, and so amazing match, just mind blowing. I love that they gave him enough time to tell the full story. I'm sure that match closed in probably about 30 minutes. But I if it had gone another 15, I would have been super happy. But he probably would have died from blood loss. So
yeah, he was.
Good thing they ended it where they did.
Yeah,
Such a great match.
You think about it, I think Wheeler was just brought in just as a side character. I don't know if they ever thought they were going to put him in the forefront. Maybe they did. Maybe they had some long-term plan. But, when Trent went down, I think they needed somebody to fill that void. And they bring in Wheeler, and, we don't even really think much of him. So good for him. And Bryan Danielson, who held the ROH Pure title, I think, for a little bit, putting that back on Wheeler was a nice moment as well. So then sandwich in between, Red Velvet moves on. I thought Willow Nightingale looked pretty decent, so I wonder if she'll end up getting signed, Greg. No surprise that Red Velvet. I mean, she's always been kind of right there. Maybe she's kind of the underdog to get this whole Owen Hart tournament win. I don't know what it's going to be for, but yeah. And then Swerve Strickland defeated QT Marshall. We will officially see Swerve and Keith Lee face off against Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs on Dynamite. And I'm all in for that to kind of see where they go.
Yep. Those, anytime I see QT Marshall in the ring, I want to change the channel, but it is what it is. Help Swerve get over. Red Velvet, same thing. But it's organically building up the women's division. A year from now, Red Velvet could be the top girl in the division. Who knows? A little tweak to the character, hopefully a better name than Red Velvet, and she could be somebody. So I'm not hating on her, but this was all about setting up the next Rampage with the Texas Death Match and then really laying as much time in as you could on the main event. So, but what are your thoughts on the main event with Yuta and Moxley?
I mean, like I said, I can't believe he's the guy that ended up over so much. Wheeler's a guy, like I said, just kind of showed up on screen. I was like, oh, look, there's a guy. I didn't know he had this in it. So it's amazing to build somebody up like that and really show what they can do. And then we also saw next week that Rampage will start at 7. So nice little hour ahead of SmackDown. And like you brought up, I wonder if they use, 30 minutes for the death match. Maybe not much else. I think Battle of the Belts is happening too, because they were saying Thunder Rosa is going to fight Nyla Rose on the 16th, which is Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Next week is Easter weekend. But I don't think NBA playoffs or maybe NBA playoffs are happening. Is that maybe why the bump for Rampage on TNT?
Yeah, I believe that's why, because the playoffs are going to be on TBS and TNT.
Okay.
So
must have an 8 o'clock tip off or something. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that is what I had for Rampage and AEW. They're really moving along towards Double or Nothing. I always think Double or Nothing should be. I'd probably put All In as their top of it, but I thought Double or Nothing started to be one of their. I don't know. That's kind of ahead of maybe Revolution at times. I feel like so. It'll be interesting what they kind of build up for Double or Nothing. Like you said, the Stadium Stampede could come back there, or Blood and Guts. We'll have MJF and Wardlow. I still think we'll probably get Darby and Jeff Hardy at it. So, going to be some fun stuff there. Let's take one more commercial break, and then we got a last call, Greg, and one that will make us think a little bit. So there we go.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSPORTS1.com sent you.
Alrighty, it is NFL draft season, Greg, and so I wanted to go draft wise for your own wrestling company. So I want your top 5 women to start a company around, your top 5 men to start a company. Now, obviously, Greg, I presented this question because I've had time to think about it. So I could go my answer first while you kind of put your answer together.
Okay.
But we'll kind of start men's side. My top 5 men, I'm going to give you Roman, or give me Roman because, I mean, it's Roman Reigns. He is on another level now. I'm going to go Kenny Omega. I know AEW has some really top guys, but when it comes down to it, Omega's just, there's something about him that just stands out. I'm going to go Drew McIntyre because I love me some Drew, and I think he's a good guy to have at the top, the bottom, the middle. I mean, Drew's shown that he could be anywhere. So that's my third. Obviously, I'm going Bryan Danielson because I love me some Bryan Danielson. And I just feel like he could be anywhere you're positioned. And I got to go young, Greg. I got to go MJF. I think MJF gets it. He just gets everything about it. Like that's, I mean, to be 25 and to get it, that takes a lot of, know-how. But I think it also helps that a lot of guys are sticking around longer to kind of, help guide younger guys as well. But so Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega, Drew McIntyre, Bryan Danielson, and MJF. Those are my top 5 guys.
Nice.
And yes, did I miss a bunch of guys? Of course. We could flesh it out later. But I was going back and forth on Drew because, yeah, Drew gets positioned weird, but then at the same time, he makes it work where he's positioned. So how about yourself, Greg? Top 5 men you'd want to start your company around?
Okay, well, I absolutely agree with you on MJF. He's probably going to be my number 1 pick,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, because the guy is a heel through and through, and you need that guy that everybody wants to pay their money to see get beat up. And at the same time, he is so good that seeing him get beat up is going to be a chore.
Yeah.
So he's got the look, he's got the mic skills, probably the best on the stick that we have today. So I definitely want him in my company. So absolutely, he's going to be my number 1. Number 2, I'm actually going to I guess we consider these 2 and 3 because I'm taking the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
I need a tag team division, and my tag team division is going to center around what I figure is the best tag team in the game. And for my money, if I had to choose one team today, I'm choosing the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that before AEW debuted, I had never seen a Young Bucks match. That's how much that I am invested in them. I would take them over the Usos. I would take them over the New Day, even though I've been watching those teams a lot longer. The Young Bucks are just so on a different level that I would choose them over those two. So
well, they get it too. I mean, they understand what the business is all about.
Absolutely.
That's a really important mind to have.
Absolutely. And then, so I guess you consider those 2 and 3. Number 4, I'm going to go stick with the youth movement, and I'm going to bring in Braun Breaker
Mm-hmm.
because he's going to be a star for the next 10, 15 years if his health, uh, as long as he can avoid the injury bug and being gone for long amounts of time. If he can, stay healthy, he has all the tools. And, the pedigree, he's going to know, a lot more than another kid his age who doesn't have family in the business and that are Hall of Famers. Um, and where they have a massive star on the heel side, they need a massive star on the babyface side. And with them being similar in age, those two can propel the company forward on a Rock and Austin type level.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure how young Breaker is, but I'm sure he's in his 20s also.
Yeah. I would imagine he's got to be mid-20s at most.
Yeah. So I'm sure he and MJF are right around the same age, and those two pushing the company forward is perfect. So that's 4, and then 5. I am going to take Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Creatively, he's a genius. So as far as working behind the scenes and putting, great ideas into the ether, as far as what to do with talents, who to bring in, and then being a mouthpiece for a guy who's, in almost territory where he's got the physical gifts, but he can't project himself onto the screen in words yet. He'd be the perfect bridge for that, the same way he did for Brock Lesnar. So have him as a tool that I could use in all these different spots, on screen and off screen. His value is going to be immeasurable. So I'm going to take those 5. MJF, Young Bucks, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman.
Well, there you go. What a company to start there. So, and you combine our companies, and man, we got. Come on, we just need some money, Greg, to back this up. I think we got it right.
Absolutely.
Need a few investments. Top 5 women to start a company around. So I went right away to Charlotte Flair and Britt Baker. Like there was no doubt in my mind. Those are the 2 names.
Yep.
Now I also went Deonna Purrazzo. Young, I think mid-20s, had a cup of coffee in WWE, but really has made a name for herself and really, kind of shows without a title, she could be something. And I think that's important because I don't think we've seen that with Charlotte yet. We have not, I don't, maybe the feud with Lacey was starting to show it, but it's been hard to see Charlotte without a title and really show what that could do. So, so that's 3. I want to go all horsewomen, but it's so tough because the horsewomen are just so damn good. Like they're all their own pieces. So, who else was I go? I'm probably going to go Becky over them because I think Becky can still have that star power outside the ring too. I think Becky's really starting to show outside the ring. So Becky Lynch. And my 5th woman, who I can't remember who I was thinking. Who was I? You know what? I'm going to go Trish Stratus. Just kind of give a veteran presence. Maybe she could be in behind the scenes mind. And yeah, I'll just go Trish. I would put her over Mickey. I know people love Mickey James, Greg, but I still love me some Trish Stratus over those kind of veteran ladies. So Charlotte Flair, Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, Becky Lynch, and Trish Stratus would be my 5 women I'd want to start a company around. How about yourself?
All right. Well, I got 2 of your 5. So Charlotte and Britt for sure.
Yeah.
You know, even though they're both better as heels, um, you know, if we have this match in Pittsburgh, uh, Britt Baker is going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so Britt and Charlotte for sure. And then I'm bringing in my hot Asian girlfriend, Asuka.
Hmm.
Um, and I want to have NXT Asuka in there.
Yeah.
Um, and she's just a killer. She's, um, you know, the moves, the her psychology, it's just off the charts. Her
Hmm.
facials, um, and then she wrestles a lot bigger than she is. Um, just everything, the whole package. I definitely want her in it. Um, fourth, I am probably going to go with. Uh, I had her and she flew away.
That
Um,
was my whole thing the whole time I was talking. I did not write mine down, which I should have.
yeah. Um, Charlotte, Britt, Asuka. Give me. Hmm,
You going any other horsewomen?
I'm thinking about Becky and trying to see if there's anybody that take over Becky.
Stephanie
You know
McMahon.
what? You know what? I got you.
Okay.
I'm doing perfect world scenario, and in perfect world, they're all healthy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm taking Paige.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think she's got a mind for the business too, that we just haven't
Absolutely,
seen yet.
absolutely, and she's fantastic as a heel or babyface,
Hmm.
and just her the way she got through to the
I mean, her
audience.
family, her family
Yeah,
runs a wrestling company, so.
right. So I loved Paige, and her run was way too short.
Mhm.
But I still hope she'll turn back up one day. But love Paige, and I definitely take her over Becky. Um, so there's four, and number five. Um, I'm trying to see if there's anybody off the radar in any of the like smaller
Yeah.
um, companies I might go with. So I've been dabbling with the GCW and
Hmm.
the. I did tape the Supercard of Honor, but I haven't watched it yet.
Hmm.
Um, Impact.
Chelsea Green.
She'd be an interesting choice. I mean,
She's figuring it out, I think.
yeah, I totally agree with that. She's definitely figuring it out, but
What
I don't think
about
she's there
Mickey?
yet.
Mickey
Mickey,
James?
no,
Yeah.
no. I definitely go with a legend before I pick Licky. Even though you'd say Mickey is a legend,
Yeah.
like a Trisha leader or something like that, way
Hmm.
before I go with Mickey. Um, mm, I don't give me EO.
Io?
No, yeah,
Oh, a heel. Sorry, a heel.
EO Shirai.
Oh, Io. You
Um,
did say okay. So you went with two Asian hot girlfriends.
yes, yes.
Did you
You
go
know,
Nikita? Didn't bring her around. She
oh,
just she
she would
just
definitely be the sixth pick,
she's a side piece.
right
She
outside the top five. Yeah,
she's a side piece. No, yeah,
for
I thought
sure.
it was
But
a fun
you know, she's
culture
brand new.
club
We haven't seen much out of her yet.
with the NFL draft, and I mean, you see fantasy drafts all the time. I don't know if you've ever dabbled in it, but one time, Greg, there was a couple of years where I dabbled with fantasy wrestling. That was kind of fun because like you would get points based on things and stuff like that. So that was kind of fun to do a fantasy football wrestling draft. So, yeah, I guess maybe next week we should do it where we can't draft the same people. So
Yeah.
like if you drafted somebody, so maybe we could do something like that where we just say we'll make 10 picks each, and we'll have to go back and forth, men or women. And
Yeah,
you
snake
can't
draft
pick,
style.
yeah, you can't pick the person. So maybe we'll throw that out there next week, Grant. Or well, we'll be back in 2 weeks because next week is Easter. So
True.
we're going to take off that week because it's just I got a wrestling expo here in town too that I want to visit on Saturday morning. It starts about 11, so John Gargano is going to be there. So I want to kind of get there right away because I'm afraid
Nice.
he's going to have a long ass line. So, but yeah, and then of course we'll be live at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Oops, I cut out Greg. My bad. Sunday, let me see the date, because tomorrow, the 24th, is that right? Yeah, because next week's Easter. So Sunday the 24th, new time, same gimmick, same bat channel, but Sunday, 6 p.m., Superkickin with Steven and Greg kicks off kind of a new time slot there. So, yeah, join us there. We'll have more news as that goes, and maybe next week we could just, use the Superkickin page to kind of catch up on stuff. But I figure with Easter next week, I knew I couldn't do Sunday night. I usually eat lunch with my family, and we just kind of do that on Sunday. So, yeah, I just didn't want to rush that or anything like that, Greg. So, and then you got the start days. So yeah, it'll give you a week to kind of get back in the swing of that as well. So we will keep people afoot of that. But 6 o'clock start time on Sunday night, I think it'll be good. And if pay-per-views come on Saturday, we can always do maybe a quick prediction show before the show kicks off, and do a show on Sunday if we need to as well. So lots of good stuff happening, and yeah. Any
Right, and
final
this is a perfect way to close year one
one
and
chapter?
have our
Start the
season
new
premiere in 2
season
weeks.
premiere in 2 weeks at the prime time slot of 6 p.m. So hopefully you'll join us there. So thank you for watching today, and see you guys in 2 weeks as we give you the Easter off, and then we'll be back the 24th of April. Like this season just, man, it moves too fast. So, but Greg, I will still take a picture in my brand new jersey when I get it, so you can have that, and I will tag you plenty of times for it. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the playoffs next week as they get kicking off.
Let's
Masters
go,
is this weekend.
Suns.
I think the Masters, whoever's in the lead, was way out in front yesterday, so we'll see.
Go Tiger.
Go Tiger, yeah. 46-year-old Tiger kicking it out there. So, yeah, just a good time to be a sports fan right now. So, talk to you guys later.
Peace.